Before we begin, a quick disclaimer. The content we share is purely for education and information purposes. We do not condone or support any acts of violence. Our goal is to expose the world of organized crime and gangs, to inform, not to glorify. Welcome to Gangster Files USA. Today, we take you inside the dark and ruthless world of the Aryan Brotherhood, one of the most notorious prison gangs in the United States. From its origins in California prisons in the 1960s to its violent rise and connections with other criminal organizations, from the blood oaths, tattoos, and deadly rituals, to their sprawling operations both inside and outside prison walls, and finally, the investigations, prosecutions, and the power that still persists today. We'll explore how a small prison gang became a national crime syndicate, controlling violence, drugs, and criminal enterprises across the country, leaving a trail of fear, loyalty, and death in its wake. So buckle up, because we're about to open today's file and reveal the full story of the Aryan Brotherhood. The Aryan Brotherhood is not just a prison gang. It is a structured criminal organization that was born behind bars and later extended its reach far beyond them. Based in the United States, the Aryan Brotherhood is widely regarded as one of the most dangerous prison-based crime syndicates ever formed. Estimates suggest that the group has between 15,000 and 20,000 members operating both inside prisons and on the outside. While that number may appear small compared to the total prison population of the United States, its influence and impact are far greater than its size suggests. Civil rights monitoring organizations have described the Aryan Brotherhood in stark terms. The Southern Poverty Law Center has identified it as the nation's oldest major white supremacist prison gang, emphasizing that it functions not merely as a racial group, but as a national crime syndicate. The Anti-Defamation League has gone even further, labeling it the oldest and most notorious racist prison gang in the United States. Federal law enforcement has reached similar conclusions. According to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Aryan Brotherhood represents only a tiny fraction of the total U.S. prison population, yet it is responsible for a disproportionately large number of murders inside American prisons. This imbalance is what makes the group so alarming. It is not the size of the organization that defines it, but the level of violence it is willing to employ to maintain control. Within prison walls, violence is currency. Power is established not through numbers, but through fear. The Aryan Brotherhood understood this early, and it built its reputation accordingly. Over time, the group shifted its focus beyond racial dominance alone and began operating in the same manner as traditional organized crime groups. Its activities became increasingly economic in nature. Drug trafficking became one of its primary operations, allowing the organization to generate income and exert influence over other inmates. Extortion followed, with prisoners and, in some cases, their families being pressured to comply with demands. Inmate prostitution networks were established and controlled. And perhaps most chilling of all, the Aryan Brotherhood became known for murder for hire, carrying out killings not as acts of rage, but as calculated business transactions. The structure of the Aryan Brotherhood is not random, nor is it uniform across every prison. Its organization can vary depending on location, security level, and leadership, but the overall framework remains consistent. Membership is strictly whites only, and the group operates under a rigid hierarchy designed to enforce obedience and secrecy. At the top of this structure sits a 12-man council responsible for major decisions involving alliances, punishments, and operations. Above that council is an even smaller body of power, a 3-man commission.
These individuals hold ultimate authority. They approve killings. They settle disputes. They decide who is protected and who is marked for death. This hierarchy allows the organization to function even when members are isolated, transferred, or placed in solitary confinement. Orders do not need to be shouted. They move quietly, passed through trusted channels, often without leaving a trace. Identity plays a critical role in the Aryan Brotherhood's survival. Members use specific terms, symbols, and imagery to recognize one another and signal loyalty. Shamrocks, swastikas, and coded markings are among the most commonly associated symbols. These images are not decorative, they are warnings. Inside prison, a single symbol can determine how other inmates respond, whether with respect, fear, or immediate violence. Joining the Aryan Brotherhood is not symbolic, and it is never casual. Entry into the group requires absolute commitment. Prospective members may be required to swear a blood oath or take a formal pledge of loyalty, but words alone are often not enough. In many cases, acceptance is directly tied to a recruit's willingness to kill another inmate. For the Aryan Brotherhood, violence is not a last resort, it is a qualification. Murder becomes proof of loyalty. Killing becomes a demonstration of usefulness. Once that line is crossed, there is no return. Membership is permanent, and betrayal is punishable by death. This is the foundation upon which the Aryan Brotherhood operates. A small, disciplined membership, a rigid hierarchy, symbolic identity enforced through fear, and a business model built on violence. And it is from this foundation that everything else follows.
As the Aryan Brotherhood grew in numbers and influence, its rise was inseparable from the history of American prisons themselves. Until the 1960s, most U.S. prisons were strictly racially segregated. White inmates, black inmates, and other racial groups were kept apart, not necessarily for safety, but because that was the policy of the system. Walls and cells defined who could interact with whom, and violence was largely contained. Then, desegregation came. The walls disappeared almost overnight. Inmates of different races were forced into the same spaces, the same day rooms, the same work assignments. For many prisoners, this was not progress, it was a threat. Survival instincts kicked in. Protection meant affiliation, and affiliation meant forming tribes based on race. It was in this volatile environment that the Aryan Brotherhood was born. Most sources point to San Quentin State Prison in California as its origin, although some believe it may have been inspired by an earlier white inmate group known as the Bluebird Gang. Regardless, the goal was clear: power, protection, and the ability to strike first against perceived enemies. One enemy in particular caught their attention: African American inmates who were forming their own militant group known as the Black Guerrilla Family. The Aryan Brotherhood positioned itself against this group with deadly intent. This was not just survival, it was a declaration of racial dominance within the walls of California prisons. In the early 1970s, the Brotherhood's influence briefly intersected with one of the most infamous criminal figures in American history, Charles Manson. Several Manson family members were incarcerated at the time, and attempts were made to form an alliance. For a moment, it seemed that two notorious groups might combine forces, but the partnership was short-lived. The Aryan Brotherhood recoiled at the shocking murder of Sharon Tate, the pregnant actress whose death had shocked the nation. What they saw as chaos and needless brutality was unacceptable, and the alliance ended before it ever truly began. Meanwhile, the Aryan Brotherhood's power continued to grow inside the California prison system.
By 1975, tensions erupted into full-scale race wars. The Brotherhood clashed with rival gangs such as La Nuestra Familia and the Black Guerrilla family. Killings became more frequent, retaliation became routine. Control of entire prison units shifted with violence, and prison officials struggled to contain the chaos. In response, California authorities tried to control the violence through segregation. The gangs were moved to different prisons across the state, separated to limit contact. But isolation had the opposite effect on the Aryan Brotherhood. Concentrated in Chino prison, the gang became more disciplined and more organized. Leadership hierarchies were strengthened, rules were codified, violence became methodical rather than impulsive. This discipline manifested most clearly in the 1980s. In 1981, two prominent members, Thomas Silverstein and Clayton Fountain, were charged with murdering a black inmate named Robert Chappelle at the United States Penitentiary in Marion. Chappelle was strangled in his cell, a calculated act that sent a message. But the killings did not stop there. The two men later murdered Raymond Smith, a friend of Chappelle's, stabbing him an astonishing 67 times. Silverstein's ambitions escalated further. He began planning the murder of a correctional officer, an act that would push the prison system to the brink. On October 22, 1983, the Aryan Brotherhood struck. Silverstein killed Merle Klutz, stabbing him roughly 40 times, using an improvised knife and handcuff key to escape restraints. Just hours later, Fountain killed another officer, Robert Hoffman, using similar tactics. These murders were not impulsive. They were rehearsed, methodical, and chilling in their precision. By the 1990s, the Aryan Brotherhood had evolved again. Racially motivated murders were no longer the only priority. Instead, the organization began operating like a sophisticated criminal enterprise. Drug trafficking, prostitution, extortion, and sanctioned murders became central to their operations. In many prisons, their influence surpassed that of the American Mafia, creating a shadow criminal network that spanned across multiple states. Their power was not limited to ordinary inmates. Even high-profile criminals sought their services. In 1996, after being assaulted in Marion Federal Penitentiary, Gambino crime family boss John Gotti allegedly requested the Brotherhood to retaliate against his attacker. Though the planned retaliation was ultimately abandoned, the very fact that a mafia boss would approach the Aryan Brotherhood demonstrated the gang's reach and reputation inside the prison system. The Brotherhood was also involved in larger conflicts that drew national attention. In April 1993, members of the Aryan Brotherhood joined forces with black Muslims and other prison gangs during the Lucasville prison riot at the Southern Ohio Correctional Facility. The rioters took several officers hostage and killed 9 inmates, then murdered a correctional officer. Their grievances included alleged abusive treatment, extreme overcrowding, and, in the case of black Muslim inmates, mandatory tuberculosis testing, which they claimed violated their religious beliefs. These events were a clear reminder. The Aryan Brotherhood was no longer simply a gang. It was a force capable of disrupting the prison system at a national level. Its members operated with precision, strategy, and a capacity for extreme violence. Its history was inseparable from the evolution of American prisons, and its story was far from over.
By the early 2000s, the Aryan Brotherhood had become a target of one of the most ambitious federal investigations ever launched against a prison gang. Their influence had spread across state lines, their operations had extended beyond prison walls, and their capacity for violence had grown unchecked for decades. In late 2002, authorities struck decisively.
29 leaders of the Aryan Brotherhood were rounded up from prisons across the United States, brought together under one federal case. They were charged under the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, better known as RICO, the same law used to dismantle organized crime syndicates such as the Mafia. The government's goal was audacious: to secure death sentences for at least 21 of the defendants, aiming to decapitate the gang's leadership in a single sweeping operation. The case shocked the nation. Evidence poured in detailing murders orchestrated from inside prison cells, drug networks spanning multiple states, and patterns of intimidation that reached beyond the walls of confinement. Yet, when the dust settled, the results were both momentous and surprising. While 30 convictions were handed down, none of the most powerful leaders received the death penalty. By March 2006, sentencing commenced for the gang's most influential figures. Among them were Barry Mills and Tyler Bingham, both indicted on numerous charges: murder, conspiracy, drug trafficking, racketeering, and issuing orders for killings and beatings while behind bars. Both men were convicted of murder and sent back to ADX Florence, the federal supermax prison in Colorado, narrowly escaping the death penalty. Bingham remains behind bars, serving life without parole, while Mills died in ADX in 2018. Prosecutors faced unique challenges. Many of the gang's members were already serving life sentences without parole, making the pursuit of capital punishment complicated. Ultimately, the government dropped the death penalty for all but 5 defendants, while the remaining 19 pleaded guilty by September 2006. The first in a series of high-level trials concluded in July 2006, with additional convictions, a small but significant victory in the war against the Brotherhood. But the investigations did not stop there. On June 23, 2005, after a 20-month inquiry, a federal strike force executed raids on 6 homes in northeastern Ohio, targeting members of the Order of the Blood, a criminal network controlled by the Aryan Brotherhood. 34 members and associates were arrested, and warrants were issued for 10 more. The operation revealed a chilling truth: the Brotherhood's tentacles stretched beyond prison walls, infiltrating communities, neighborhoods, and local criminal enterprises. The years that followed only confirmed this reality. In June 2019, federal authorities charged 16 members and associates in California, following a multi-year investigation inside and outside prison. The charges were extensive: racketeering, murder, attempted murder, and large-scale drug trafficking. It was clear that the Brotherhood had not been weakened by previous convictions or life sentences. By April 2024, the system had once again delivered verdicts. At California State Prison, Sacramento, inmate Ronald Renegade Yandel, 61, was found guilty on multiple counts, including murder in aid of racketeering, conspiracy to conduct the affairs of an enterprise through a pattern of racketeering activity, 5 counts of conspiracy to commit murder in aid of racketeering, and extensive drug distribution offenses involving methamphetamine and heroin. In the same trial, Danny Troxel, 71, was convicted of conspiracy related to racketeering and murder, while Billy Sylvester, 55, was found guilty of murder and multiple drug offenses. All 3 were already serving life sentences and now faced additional consequences for their criminal activities. The Brotherhood's influence was not confined to prisons or even conventional crimes. During the chaos following the June 2020 George Floyd protests in Minneapolis, a 34-year-old man associated with the Aryan Cowboy Brotherhood was identified as the suspected instigator known as Umbrella Man. He allegedly incited the looting and arson of the first building during the unrest. As of late 2022, no charges had been filed, but the incident highlighted how the Brotherhood's ideology and influence could stretch into the streets, manipulating events from the shadows. Finally, in November 2020, a sweeping multi-agency operation targeted more than 60 individuals connected to the Aryan Brotherhood across California, Montana, and Nevada. Investigators uncovered evidence of coordinated criminal activity, including violent crimes, firearms trafficking, and extensive drug distribution. Even though the offenses originated on the West Coast, the Brotherhood's reach extended across the United States, stretching as far as Alabama. The operation resulted in the seizure of 80 pounds of methamphetamine, 5 pounds of heroin, and more than 25 firearms. Despite decades of arrests, convictions, and federal crackdowns, the Aryan Brotherhood remained a formidable force. Life sentences, supermax isolation, and coordinated investigations had slowed them, but the organization adapted. Its methods evolved, its violence became more calculated, its influence persisted, proving that even behind bars, some criminal enterprises are capable of surviving and thriving.
Even after decades behind bars, the Aryan Brotherhood has remained more than just a gang. It is a force driven by ideology, ambition, and profit. To understand the organization, one must examine both its motivations and its operational methods, how belief and business intertwine to create one of the most dangerous criminal networks in the United States. The Aryan Brotherhood's origins trace back to San Quentin State Prison in 1964, where inmates sought protection from existing black prison gangs. Survival was their first priority, but it did not take long for ideology to emerge as a defining characteristic. White supremacy became a guiding principle, shaping alliances, rules, and the very structure of the gang. Yet for all its racial rhetoric, experts note that money often eclipsed ideology. The Southern Poverty Law Center, which monitors extremist organizations across the United States, has consistently described the Brotherhood as both a white supremacist group and a national crime syndicate. According to the SPLC, the gang is the largest and deadliest prison gang in the country, and while its members claim racial superiority, their decisions are often pragmatic. They have occasionally allied with Latin American gangs to maximize profit, even setting aside racist ideologies when it serves their criminal objectives. Law enforcement experts emphasize the broader threat of these prison-based extremist groups. Daryl Johnson, head of the Domestic Terrorist Analysis Team, has identified the Aryan Brotherhood alongside the Aryan Brotherhood of Texas and the Aryan Circle as radicalization threats. These gangs not only commit acts of violence inside prisons, but can carry their extremist mindset into the larger community upon release. In this way, the Brotherhood is not confined to cells and fences. Its influence ripples far beyond the penitentiary walls. Historical FBI investigations in California prisons dating as far back as 1989 characterized the Brotherhood as a violent, white supremacist group. Years later, in 2008, a Department of Homeland Security intelligence conference divided domestic extremism into categories, consistently recognizing white supremacist prison gangs as ongoing threats. The Aryan Brotherhood remains at the top of that list. Estimates of the Brotherhood's membership range from 15,000 to 20,000, spanning both prisons and the streets. Every member is white, and every member has spent time in prison. Entry is difficult, selective, and violent. New recruits are placed on a year-long probation, during which their loyalty is tested and their willingness to commit murder or other violent acts is scrutinized. To be accepted fully, a prospective member may be required to kill a rival inmate, assault a correctional officer, or even murder a prisoner of another race. These acts are not symbolic, they are a blood oath, a permanent pledge of allegiance.
Membership is not only tested through action, but also through indoctrination. Books and reading materials are smuggled into prisons, including texts from extremist groups like Aryan Nations and Militia of Montana, alongside classics such as Mein Kampf, The Art of War, and Machiavelli's The Prince. These works reinforce a philosophy of strategy, power, and ruthless ambition. Cultural influences also play a role. Early members admired the gunslingers of the American West, a fascination that inspired the Brotherhood's self-proclaimed moniker, the Brand. They also idealized Vikings and Golden Age pirates, celebrating figures who lived outside the law and answered only to their own codes. Inside prison walls, the Aryan Brotherhood's criminal enterprise is extensive and highly organized. Members control male prostitution rings, gambling operations, extortion networks, and drug distribution, with methamphetamine being the most common substance trafficked. Every transaction, every scheme is a lesson in efficiency and intimidation. Outside prison, the organization's reach expands into nearly every form of organized crime. The SPLC lists a litany of offenses: murder for hire, armed robbery, gun trafficking, methamphetamine production, heroin distribution, counterfeiting, and identity theft. In each case, the same combination of ideology, loyalty, and extreme violence ensures that the Aryan Brotherhood remains both feared and nearly untouchable. This dual nature, part ideological cult, part criminal enterprise, is what makes the Aryan Brotherhood so dangerous. Its members are not just inmates surviving behind bars. They are strategists, businessmen, and extremists, all operating under a strict code enforced by fear, violence, and unflinching loyalty. The organization thrives on the tension between ideology and profit, between the symbolism of white supremacy and the cold calculations of organized crime. And so, even as arrests, trials, and federal crackdowns have weakened its leadership at times, the Aryan Brotherhood continues to adapt. Its ideology, while flexible when convenient, still drives its most violent acts. Its hierarchy ensures order and continuity. Its reach extends from supermax prisons to the streets, from local neighborhoods to multi-state criminal operations. For law enforcement, sociologists, and prison officials, the question is not whether the Aryan Brotherhood is dangerous, they already know it is, but how far its influence will extend next, and how many lives will be destroyed along the way.
As the Aryan Brotherhood solidified its reputation for violence and control, its organizational structure evolved into a model of efficiency and ruthlessness. What began as a small prison-based gang in California in the mid-1960s soon expanded across the state's prison system. By 1975, the Brotherhood had spread to nearly every California prison. When some of its leaders were transferred to federal prisons, they seized the opportunity to establish a presence there as well, eventually creating two distinct but closely allied organizations, the California Aryan Brotherhood and the Federal Prison Aryan Brotherhood. A former top leader described the relationship: "They're like two related but different crime families. They each have their ruling commission, but they're allies." Membership remained small in the late 1970s, under 100 members, but growth was rapid as the Brotherhood absorbed other racist and skinhead groups. Today, their combined membership is estimated at over 20,000, spanning both federal and state prisons. In its early years, the Brotherhood operated under a one-man, one-vote system, but as the gang expanded, this system became unmanageable. It was replaced by a strict hierarchical structure, a 12-man council overseeing operations with a 3-member commission at the top. Both the federal and state systems maintain their own councils and commissions, ensuring control and continuity. Across different states, organizational structures vary. In Arizona prisons, for example, members are known as kindred, grouped into families, each overseen by a council.
Kindred may mentor new recruits, known as progeny, creating a system of loyalty, guidance, and indoctrination. The Brotherhood's organization extends beyond mere hierarchy. An internal banking and accounting system allows them to tax criminal activities on the streets, collecting 20% of proceeds, which are then laundered and controlled by the Commission. This structure ensures both financial power and operational discipline, allowing the gang to manage far-reaching criminal enterprises from behind bars. The Brotherhood's influence is not limited to its own ranks. Over the years, it has formed alliances with other white supremacist and hate-based organizations, such as Aryan nations, the Nazi lowriders, and Public Enemy No. 1. Strategic partnerships have also included the Mexican Mafia, La M, as both gangs share a mutual enemy in the Black Guerrilla family. Their rivalries extend to other street and prison gangs, including the Black P-Stones, Bloods, Crips, DC Blacks, and Nuestra Familia. The gang's reach even stretches into the underworld of bikers. The Brotherhood has collaborated with the Hells Angels, though not without conflict. A notable clash occurred in 1989 when tensions over control of criminal enterprises in the East Bay culminated in the murder of Hells Angels Vice President Michael O'Farrell. By the early 1990s, the Brotherhood had extended its connections into the American Mafia. Infamously, John Gotti, the Gambino crime family boss, requested the Brotherhood's protection while incarcerated. Gotti also orchestrated a business partnership between his organization and the Brotherhood on the streets, further expanding the gang's influence outside prison walls. Today, the Aryan Brotherhood's communication and control are astonishingly tight. Members can orchestrate complex criminal operations from solitary confinement, directing drug trafficking, extortion, and violent acts across multiple states. Federal and state authorities, despite decades of surveillance, raids, and prosecutions, continue to struggle with the gang's efficiency and reach. The Aryan Brotherhood is no longer just a prison gang. It is a highly organized, adaptable, and deeply entrenched criminal enterprise whose operations stretch far beyond bars and cells.
Symbols and marks are as important to the Aryan Brotherhood as loyalty and violence. They are the visible proof of membership, the badge of identity that signals to both allies and rivals that a person belongs to one of the most feared prison gangs in the United States. From the earliest days, new members were branded with tattoos, following a procedure described in a prison novel that was widely read among inmates. These tattoos were more than decoration, they were a permanent mark of allegiance. Common designs include a green shamrock, often called the Rock, the letters AB, or the number 666. This ritual, known as the brand, signifies that an inmate has pledged themselves fully to the Brotherhood, with all the responsibilities and dangers that entails. Over time, the gang adopted a broader collection of symbolic identifiers. Members frequently display the words Aryan Brotherhood, Nazi insignia such as SS runes, swastikas, shamrocks, and Celtic iconography. Every tattoo carries meaning, a combination of racial ideology, criminal pride, and devotion to the gang's history and hierarchy. Symbols alone, however, are not enough. Members also swear blood oaths, pledging their loyalty for life in what is often summarized as blood in, blood out, a stark reminder that membership ends only in death. New recruits recite an 8-line pledge, committing themselves fully to the gang's rules, ethos, and acts of violence. These rituals are designed to reinforce loyalty and ensure obedience, creating a bond that is as psychological as it is physical. Despite their relatively small numbers, the Aryan Brotherhood wields disproportionate power.
According to the FBI, as of 1992, members made up less than 1% of the federal prison population, yet they were responsible for 18 to 25% of all murders in federal prisons. Their reach and lethality far exceed their size, a testament to the deadly efficiency of their structure, hierarchy, and codes of loyalty. Government agencies have long recognized the Brotherhood's threat. In 2009, the Department of Homeland Security released the Domestic Extremism Lexicon, categorizing white supremacist movements into 6 types, including neo-Nazis, the Ku Klux Klan, racist skinheads, and Aryan prison gangs. Analysts describe the Aryan Brotherhood as further outside the white supremacy mainstream, largely independent from other groups. Unlike ideological movements that may compromise on tactics, the Brotherhood is pragmatic, flexible, and ruthless, often prioritizing criminal profit over pure ideology. The tattoos, oaths, and symbols are more than identifiers. They are tools of control, instruments of fear, and statements of power. Each mark, each pledge serves as a warning to rivals and a promise to allies. Crossing the Aryan Brotherhood is deadly, and loyalty is absolute. This combination of symbolism, hierarchy, criminal strategy, and deadly efficiency makes the Aryan Brotherhood not just a prison gang, but a pervasive criminal enterprise capable of influencing events both inside prison walls and far beyond, across the country through a network of members, allies, and affiliates. As we've seen, the Aryan Brotherhood is far more than a prison gang. From its humble beginnings in California prisons, born out of the need for survival, it has grown into one of the most organized, ruthless, and far-reaching criminal enterprises in the United States. Over the decades, the gang has expanded its influence through hierarchical structure, strict oaths, and a complex system of symbols, creating a network that operates both inside prison walls and on the streets. Their allyships, rivalries, and criminal ventures stretch across states, connecting them to other gangs, the American Mafia, and even international criminal operations. Despite making up a small fraction of the prison population, their impact is immense. They have orchestrated murders, racketeering, drug trafficking, and acts of extreme violence that have left prisons and law enforcement on high alert for decades. Their story is one of strategy, loyalty, brutality, and an unyielding pursuit of power, where ideology and profit intertwine in deadly ways. The Aryan Brotherhood remains a formidable presence, a chilling reminder of how organized crime can thrive even under the strictest supervision. Their legacy is etched into the prison system, in tattoos, blood oaths, and the fear they inspire among allies and enemies alike. Thank you for watching this in-depth look into one of the most notorious gangs in America. If you want more detailed investigations and stories from the underworld, stay tuned and subscribe to Gangster Files USA. Your support keeps us bringing these stories to light.